Yep, I am back in the chair. Okay, yeah, this is okay. This is good. Okay, so now I want to talk about GPU manufacturers. Yep, that's allow me, I'm folding my legs in the chair. So I want to talk about like the different types of GPUs that we have, GPU power, so like software and optimization for GPUs, and why all of this information is important. So stick to the end. If you're new here, you're welcome to the channel. I want to make it a new habit to always welcome. I don't know who could be viewing this, so new viewers, please, you're welcome, and please stay. Let's get into the video. All right, welcome back. Let's go. Now there are there are five key GPU makers in the smartphone sphere, in the smartphone space. Now, the most popular one is ARM. Yeah, ARM makes CPUs, so it definitely makes sense that they would also make GPUs as well. Now, their GPUs are called Mali GPUs, right? So I think after ARM, you've got Qualcomm with the Adreno GPUs, but the Adreno GPUs are exclusively meant for Snapdragon, so you won't find Adreno on anywhere else. You've got Apple have got their Apple GPU, and just like Qualcomm, they are only going to use Apple GPUs exclusively for the Bionics and the Macs, the M1s and the M Ultras and all that. I think after that, next up you've got AMD. AMD are trying to get back into like the whole like smartphone game, and I think Samsung have given them a route, so they're working with Samsung now. So they shrunk their RDNA GPU technology to be able to fit inside of a smartphone, and that's how we got the Eclipse on the they've only ever made one. That's the Eclipse 920 for the Exynos 2200. Really, where are those crickets coming from? Last up, you've got PowerVR. Now, PowerVR used to be a big shot back in the day. Yeah, they used to make GPUs for almighty Apple. But then Apple said, you know what, we're cutting out the middleman and we're making our own GPUs. And since then, PowerVR's stock has been on the decline. Yes, they still, one of their more popular GPUs is the PowerVR GE8300. Which you can still find on the Helio P35, G35, and G25. I don't know why they like that GPU so much, but that one is still that's like the only like GPU like that's been used on new phones. I think the rest ones, there is the GM9440 off the top of my head for I think the Helio P90s and the Helio P95s, but those ones are just one-offs. Imagination technology is no longer the big beast that they used to be. So yes, let's look at GPUs now. Just like SoCs in general and CPU cores, GPUs also have class based on power. Now, how do you get like the power of a GPU? Mostly it depends on the architecture as well as the number of cores, the shaders, and the speed. Yeah, like those are like the four key specs you look at when you talk about GPU. So I want to highlight like each of them like bit by bit. First off is Mali. Mali GPUs are from ARM. They are the most popular GPUs in the smartphone space, and by Jovi, they have a lot of power on them. Now, this is usually like characterized by the fact that like Mali GPUs have a lot of cores on them. I think the G78 at some point had 24 cores for the GPU, and I think during that time it was like some of the most powerful GPUs in the smartphone space. But the problem with Mali GPUs is that they lack optimization for the software they're supposed to run, as well as heating. Boy, they overheat. Adreno, on the other hand, Qualcomm doesn't really tell us the number of cores they have, but they do well on benchmarks, so you know that they are mostly powerful as well. I'm talking about the higher end now. The higher ends are mostly powerful and they are well optimized for tasks. Now, Qualcomm makes sure that there's a lot of API, application interfaces, for apps to be able to take advantage of like the GPUs to make sure that it runs smoothly. Like for the most part, I think what most of these companies, not just Qualcomm, because the same thing that can be said about Adreno GPUs can also be said about Apple GPUs. Apple GPUs are also very well optimized, and they're also powerful. They're also very powerful. Maybe not in terms of raw power, but they're powerful. Like they've got very good architecture and they can handle most apps and games very, very well. So on top of that, they're also well optimized. Qualcomm and Apple, like their GPUs are very, very optimized, and they make it a point of duty to work with developers for their apps and for their games and for their software to make sure that their own like GPUs run it very smoothly without a hitch. Next up, we've got AMD. AMD is still early days for AMD and the Eclipse GPU. So who knows what will happen. For Imagination Technology and their PowerVR, they are on the decline. and to be quite honest, that they're not really my first choice for gaming. I mean, they have the is it the TX T7 series was actually very, very powerful, but optimization was never really their forte, right? So let's leave it at that. Now, how do you tell which GPU is powerful and which GPU is not? Benchmarks. Not just benchmarks, like the grade of the SoC where you find the GPU is also another one besides benchmarks, and then also the type of games that the SoC that contains a certain GPU can play or can handle. For example, if you want to know how powerful a GPU is, you can simply install PUBG off Play Store and then see if it can run it. That would probably give you an idea. Now, I personally, on my website, I have left the link in the description, so please feel free to check it out. I've left links to posts on what is a GPU and how GPUs are graded. If you go to Google right now and type in top 100 GPUs for smartphones or top 100 smartphone GPUs, you'll probably find me somewhere at second or third place, like behind Notebook Check on Google. That's for Dr. Kuna. On Google, I am probably number one over there, which is actually something for me to be very proud of. I don't know, but I have ranked GPUs into A, B, C, D, E, F classes. So basically, there are certain games which I use for the A and the B class, right? Because A is what you find at the absolute bleeding edge of tech, and B is just B can do whatever A does. Probably not as good, but B can do it well. And there are certain key games, games like Fortnite, for example. Grid Auto Sports, for example, games like that, games like NBA 2K, for example. These are games that only certain GPUs within that flagship or upper mid-range segments can actually play. So I basically put them into A and B categories. I think that's how I used to grade them. C GPUs are the ones you find for lower mid-rangers. C GPUs can play most games, right? Most games, but not those upper tier, triple A games that I've just mentioned just now. Examples being Fortnite, Grid Auto Sports, and NBA 2K. Even basic stuff because I remember I had the Redmi Note 7 2 years ago, and it used the Adreno 512 GPU, which I consider a C-class GPU, and it struggled with augmented reality and virtual reality, whilst my current phone, which is the Redmi Note 9 Pro with the Adreno 618, does it very easily, because it's a B-class GPU. It's probably not at the flagship level, it's not at A, but it can basically do what the flagship GPUs can do. It's just that there's a lot less power, so obviously there are going to be some constraints, but A-class GPUs are at the bleeding edge of tech. They can do everything. Max out your game settings on PUBG or on Call of Duty or on Fortnite, max it out, 60 they have 60 FPS in Fortnite. I'm going to need to check that out, but the highest FPS that the game can offer, boom, they push it there. But B-class GPUs probably can't do all of that. I mean, can give you pretty high graphics and pretty decent FPS, but not at the level that the A-class GPUs can do that. Like I said earlier, A is for the flagship, and B is for the upper mid-rangers. C is for decent normal mid-rangers that you'd find them there. C-class GPUs would struggle with games, especially when you push them up to high graphics. So basically, if you're working with a C-class GPU, it is best to leave your graphics settings at mid graphics, mid FPS. And if you want to do stuff with artificial intelligence or virtual reality, you're going to have to know what you're doing and how you're doing it. That's for C-class GPUs. D-class GPUs are the GPUs you find on budget phones or budget class processors, the Helio P35s, the Helio G35s, the Snapdragon 460s of this world, Snapdragon 636, stuff like that. So those ones are it's best to leave those GPUs at mid settings or low settings if you are going to be playing games. Definitely C-class and D-class GPUs are definitely not going to be playing stuff like Fortnite or Grid Auto Sports, for example, or NBA 2K. They can play PUBG very well. That's because PUBG and Call of Duty and even PES have scalable graphics where you can choose to set your the graphics for low settings and then play the game. Of course, it's not going to be as graphically appealing as when you're playing at a higher settings level, but you catch my drift. Right, so what else is there? Oh, the E-class. The E-class are the entry level GPUs. Now, I have seen people buy entry-level phones with entry-level GPUs and they want to game with it. And this is mostly what I do. And how the previous video, those of you who have seen it, if you haven't seen it, please, I would prescribe you do so. About an entry-level phone like the Samsung A02 with the MediaTek 6739 with the PowerVR GE8100 playing a game like eFootball, PES. Don't do that to yourself. Seriously, don't do that to yourself. If you don't really know how GPUs are graded, please get on Google, type top 100 GPU, top 100 smartphone GPUs, and you'll see Inquisitive Universe there. It's either first or second, seriously. And then like, I have made a list already. I'm repeating it again. I've made a list, and I have also graded them into A, B, C, D, E, and F. Do not get an entry-level phone with an entry-level GPU for games, like for graphically intensive games. If you're getting it for games like let's say Subway Surf, for example, simple games like that, Subway Surf, probably Cooking Fever. Cooking Fever has become more graphically intensive. Same thing with Candy Crush. So you're going to hit up those GPUs fast, right? But if you're getting it for something like Subway Surf or Temple Run, yes, that's understandable, right? But I know that money is hard to come by and that people are on a budget, but please don't do that to yourself. Really, don't get an entry level. It's better you get a fairly used budget or mid-range phone than to get a brand new entry level phone and then like put yourself through that frustration. That's for like E-class GPUs. F-class GPUs are GPUs from SoCs that are mostly extinct, like from the Snapdragon 200 series, for example, or from the MediaTek 6 asterisk class, like that. So that's basically it for GPUs. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's something I wanted to do without a script. I just wanted to explain it naturally as I have learned it, and not seem very mechanical on camera. So please do stay. My target for this year, yes, I finally decided to give myself a target. I want to take this seriously. Is 1,000 subscribers by the year's ending, and I know you guys. I know I can get there, and I know you guys can help me. So please, if you're watching this video, stay. Hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Thank you for coming. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.